friends, followers, students, family. Dr. Jimmy Henderson again, cognitive scientist, and in this case also a trauma counselor. After my studies, I did complete a postgraduate diploma in trauma counseling, and I worked for quite a few years for a very well-known bank in South Africa, doing trauma debriefing and trauma counseling for hijackings, for bank robberies, deaths in the family, and other emergencies, call-outs for this bank. So I do have quite a few years experience in trauma counseling specifically. What I want to talk about today then is trauma, what actually trauma is. And I think there's a lot of misconceptions about trauma. We seem to think that trauma is, I was so traumatized. This woman said to me this, or that man said to me this, and I was so traumatized. And oh, my dog bit another dog, and I was totally traumatized. Ladies and gentlemen, that is not trauma. Trauma is very, very serious stuff, which I'm going to explain to you. It's life and death situations, and terrible feelings of horror and helplessness. So let me start at the beginning. Well, I think what we're talking about is a crisis. Now, a crisis normally happens to everybody. A relationship issue, a breakup, family problems, family disputes, drinking issues, drug issues, possibly illness, and possibly not having cash. In other words, retrenchment and job loss. That would be classified as a crisis. In other words, it's normally of a short duration, and it's something that, as I said, something that happens to most people. Trauma, on the other hand, is the worst case scenario. Here we're talking about death, being faced with death, being threatened with death guns, a violent death especially, serious abuse where your life has been threatened, accidents, terrible accidents which you have been in where you thought you were going to die, or you've seen somebody die in an accident, specifically a family member or a friend. In other words, death, destruction, war and violence, the kind of wars we're seeing going on in the world today, those people are really traumatized because they're facing death on a daily basis. And natural disasters, people that have been involved in earthquakes and things like that, that is trauma. It's pretty serious stuff. And the kind of feelings that these people have is terror and horror, and that completely takes over their lives. What is happening is that the stress level in that person, the tension level goes from 0 to top to maximum within a few seconds, and it causes major disruptions and very bad thinking, negative thoughts, what we call images in the mind. They're called flashbacks. In other words, this stays with you for years and years and years. I mean, speak to people that have been to the wars, and they're still suffering from PTSD and even major depression. So these are the kind of things that come from real trauma, these negative thoughts and images and things like that. And as a counselor, I need to explain that there are different stages to trauma. In other words, the first stage would be phase 1, which is the immediate shock. In other words, something traumatic, really traumatic has happened to you, and the person is hysterical, out of control, completely numb and in shock and confused. They normally curl up into like a little ball, don't want to interact with anybody. They're completely helpless and possibly hysterical and have to be sedated by doctors. That is stage 1 of a real traumatic experience. And the kind of things they're going to be having, symptoms is shock and as I said, shock vomiting, stomach diarrhea, the stomach just running, major medical issues, not being able to sleep, having nightmares, and things like that. And in that stage, it's very difficult to counsel a person. So what I would recommend is where in stage one, when it has just happened to somebody, well, the best you can do is just give them support. Be with them, sit with them, talk to them. Don't try and go too deeply into the situation at this point, because they're still in the early stages of trauma, and they're not rational, they're not able to think, they're not able to make decisions. And all you can do is support them, make the decisions for them, help them with their health situation, with other issues, medical issues, get them to the doctor, or get them other forms of practical support. That is phase one. They need immediate support, and they also, all they need at that stage is reassurance that these symptoms, what we call normalization, that what they're experiencing is normal for trauma. There's nothing wrong with them. And at that point, you can begin to identify these powerful feelings and the thoughts and the images that have been stuck in their mind. Because later on, when the later phases, you can actually deal with them. So the next stage is phase two, when the person has now got this. Oh, by the way, this stage one normally takes anything from 1 hour to a few days, and depending on the person and the situation and the personality. Phase two is when they're trying to cope. And the danger there is that if it's not if trauma isn't attended to within 1 hour, 1 to 2 hours, that person can have severe problems. And if it's not attended to at all over a period of years, that person can end up with post-traumatic stress disorder and major depression, and may never recover from real trauma. The problem is that they eventually close up. If they don't receive attention within the first few hours of trauma, they will close up. It's called traumatic envelope, and they don't want to talk. They can't talk. It's just too painful. Now they have terrible feelings of anxiety and guilt and fear, anger and horror. Just leave me alone. Just leave me alone. I can't cope with this. Or otherwise, there's some guilt. If they were involved in an accident where somebody died, you get guilt, a lot of guilt. I could have prevented this. Oh, this is unbelievable. The problems continue during this phase two. This can go on for months, or at least weeks, where they've got no interest, they don't want to work, they can't do anything there, and it's very difficult. The only good thing is that you can start counseling them at that phase. In other words, once they've passed the initial shock, you can actually start talking to them, and they can start to reason to a certain degree. And in other words, you can challenge some of the stuff that they think, negativity and the misperceptions that they have, that they were guilty of something, they should have done something better. I should have fought back. I should have taken the gun from this guy. I shouldn't have let him point this gun at me. I should have been stronger. I should have done this. I should have done that. That's the kind of thoughts they're going to have. And you can challenge this and say, listen, my friend, you were in a terrible situation. You had this gun in your face, and there was nothing that you could do, and you have to accept that. And other words, rephrasing the situation, reframing the situation for them, showing them that they actually did the very best that they could under the circumstances. In other words, working against the guilt, working against the negativity, challenging it, and trying to show them, re-empower them. Trauma involves a loss, what we call a loss of power, and total helplessness. They feel they were totally helpless and out of control. And if you can show them during phase two, during those few weeks afterwards, during trauma counseling, that they actually did very well under the circumstances, that they didn't panic that much, that they actually did, and they had a certain amount of control over the situation, that you can help them to get through those feelings of guilt and all problems that they were having. Phase three then is the recovery, what we call the recovery period. And as I said, if they don't get treatment early, it can go over into serious mental issues. Uh, if they get good treatment, phase 3 normally lasts after about 2 months. The person should be able to sort of start normalizing again. In other words, they've had counseling immediately. They've been cancelled 3 to 6 to 10 times, because trauma counseling is not something you can do in one session. It's over a period of weeks. This process unfolds over a period of weeks. This is not normal crisis. This is not a boyfriend problem. This is something serious. Your mother, your family has died or seriously ill. You are distraught, and it can take 2 months before you even start normalizing again. So don't be in a hurry. Life will only start returning to normal after a few months. So at that stage, you can then carry on with the counseling, do encouragement, help them to draw up a plan of action to deal with the issues that are bothering them. There will be issues. There'll be medical issues. There'll be legal issues. There will be self-image issues. And you can also then teach them how to cope day to day and help them with coping skills. So that would be phase 3. And if you're very, very successful and you are a pretty good counselor, you could actually help that person can end up being stronger. It's almost like a bone that's broken in the body, and then when it grows back, it becomes stronger. They call that traumatic growth. In other words, the person has gone through this terrible trauma, has become more resilient, has become stronger, better able to cope with the day-to-day stresses of life. So there is a good reason for counseling, and there can be a decent outcome to trauma if a person can actually become more resilient and cope better with life. So I want to encourage you, those of you that do trauma counseling, to maybe get a copy of my book. One of my latest books is called Dealing with Trauma, and it's available on Amazon, Dr. Jimmy Henderson. It's available on SouthAfricaInTakealot.com, and I will give you some of the details later on. This book is actually more for early counseling. In other words, it's not something that you could probably use for a professional. Professionals would probably know all this. This is for your caregivers, your lay counselors, your church counselors, students who are starting out, and anybody, also possibly for people that have been traumatized. In other words, if you can apply some of these exercises to yourself, if you've been traumatized, you could probably help yourself to get through this process. So I would encourage you to get this book, and also have a look at my website where these books can be purchased. So I want to thank you for the time this day, and I hope that you've benefited from this brief view of trauma, and that you clearly understand the difference now between trauma and your day-to-day crisis. Thank you.